All right, guys, welcome back to the Colt Firm, Colt Buildings, and Barndominiums show. My name is Juan. I am your host, and I am the owner and president of the Colt Firm, which is composed of quality products and services that we offer clients across the country, from steel buildings, engineering, steel erection, barndominiums, full turnkey builds. Okay, so as we move into this session today, we're going to talk about the variety of products and services we offer. Let's talk about steel buildings today. We're going to talk about steel buildings. We're going to talk about specifically clear span tubular steel buildings. Okay, and we offer three products at Colt Buildings. Okay, first one is a red iron building, which is typically used for commercial usage, shops, body shops. These typically are red iron buildings. They're heavy. They can go long spans across. This is typically if you're doing 60 feet, 70 feet, 80, 100-foot spans across. If you're going forever long, you're going 20-foot eave heights, 15-foot eave heights. That's what we use for commercial usage. You're going anywhere from 5,000 square foot up or 10,000 square foot up. We're going to run suggest you go with a red iron building. We offer another product, which is one of our top products, number one selling products, is cold form steel. Aesthetically, you could really get fancy with that. You could drop a lot of money with a cold form building. We offer a standing seam roof system, so we can go from 112 to a 1212 pitch. But today we're going to be talking about the tubular gauge steel clear span buildings. Okay, we typically run 29 and 26 gauge. We're going to talk about the different pros, the cons of a clear span building, the reach where a clear span building would be your best fit for your barndominium, and why we use steel versus why we go with wood. And we're talking about speed. We're going to talk about cost. We're going to talk about the different types of reasons why you would use a tubular steel building for your barndominium. Okay, so let's talk about clear span buildings. All right, so clear span buildings are typically a tubular building that's usually the ladder legs are run from 12 to 14 gauge. That's the thickness of the steel on the actual steel tubes. Now, when you're doing a single wall system, you're going to be running usually 5-foot spans. That's typically what you would use for a carport. Now, when you're using it for a commercial grade building or you're doing a barndominium, you typically go 4 foot off center, and you're going to run what you call a ladder leg system, which means you're going to take two tubular steel buildings like this. Okay, and be about 12-inch walls coming in from the exterior wall from the sheeting to the inside. You're going to have a ladder leg system every 4 foot. Okay, and it's going to be on like a rail system that runs inside of the steel. So 12 inches inside is your wall. Okay, and then internally you're going to frame it out with wood. So that is a very cost-effective building. It is probably the most cost-effective building. Also, you don't going to have to worry about termites. It's steel, it's galvanized steel. You're going to have about a 25-year warranty on the structure. Now, let's talk about the types of steel, the two types of steel gauges that they offer. You're going to have a 29 gauge, which if you're doing like a big shop, that'll work just fine. Okay, fantastic. Now, if you're going to turn this into your barndominium, your home, and you're going to be using this for like the family, and you're going to do, say, half of his shop and half of it's going to be your house, then I'll highly, highly encourage you to go with 26 gauge. Now, if you're going to be in high wind areas such as Florida, I would highly encourage you to go with 26 gauge. Now, if you're in Georgia and you're in South Carolina, and it's just for a shop, go with 29 gauge. It's fine. Very cost effective. It's probably the most cost effective steel on your building. Now, let's talk about the pros and the cons. Well, let's talk about the cons first. Let's get those out of the way. Cons is this is not going to be a typical building that you use in high wind loads such as down in Miami or on the coast. But you can use them and they work just fine. They work great. I definitely would not use this type of building in high snow load areas. Okay, like Utah or Colorado or Michigan or Kansas. Okay, or typically out in Oklahoma, or northern states like Maine. Not a good building for that area. Now with the southeast like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, parts of Tennessee, East Alabama, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida. Fantastic product. Probably the number one product I would encourage you to go with because you can't beat the price. I mean, you're building at literally $25 to $35 a square foot. Okay, you can't beat that. Dried in. That includes the building materials. That includes the delivery of your building. That includes the install of your building. Okay, and right now we're running literally a 25% discount this month on steel buildings, on these tubular steel buildings, and that's commercial grade. That's a risk category 2, not a risk category 1. People are like, what's the difference? Now, let's talk about the differences in these buildings. You have a risk category 1 building. You're going to see a lot of ads out there. Hey, get a building for $19,000. Well, that will work if it's a shop, but typically, and most often, you're going to want to get a risk category 2 building always if it's a barndominium, because it has to be, it's about the usage of the building. So it has to be a risk category 2 building for residential home. Now, if it's just a shop, then a risk category 1 building would be fine. Steel buildings come in 4 different categories: risk category 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they're based off of 2 things: the wind load, how much wind can that building take from a structural engineering perspective, and also a risk category, and then also snow load. How much weight can that building uphold, okay, without it caving in and you dying? So basically, what we want to make sure is that, number 1, the building's safe. Number 2, make sure that the building is cost effective and meet your needs. Some people want to go high end. So if they want to go high end, then I would encourage them to go with something more like a cold form building. Okay, you're sitting around between $35 and $40 a square foot for cold form. And the same thing with red iron, they're neck and neck. Now, when it comes to a cost-effective building, you're going to go with ClearSpan. ClearSpan offers what you call a corrugated roof system. Corrugated means that you screw the roof down, and it has exposed fasteners. Great roof. And people say, and it has about a 25-year warranty. Well, most people are not going to be alive who get these buildings for that long. But the great thing about them, if you plan on doing a barndominium, then you're going to run some type of vapor barrier, which is what we encourage. And that's what comes with the building, so you can get that, and then you're going to spray foam it. Now, you can run 2 types of spray foam. You can run a closed cell or open cell. You can insulate these buildings any way you like. But what we encourage people to do when it comes to insulation is, if you go with closed cell spray foam, that's going to seal the envelope of your build, and to ensure that there's no moisture going to come in and out of the building, and to make sure that your energy efficiency is top notch in regards to cutting your utility bill down about half, about 50%. Okay. Now, we service Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, a little bit of Pennsylvania, Ohio, East Kentucky, East Tennessee, and East Alabama. Okay. Now, if you're in that region, then you're in the Golden Triangle. Okay, when it comes to a ClearSpan building, that is the most cost-effective building out on the market, hands down. Okay, because the install and the labor cost to put them up can be pricey. Also, with our manufacturers, you can also include your roll-up doors. Make sure you include your exterior doors and windows can also be included, because they come from the manufacturing plant. Now, here's another thing. Here's a great thing is the roll-up doors. If you want a roll-up door that's 12 foot, you have to at least go 2 foot higher than your roll-up door. Does that make sense? So if you want a 12-foot door, that means you need to have 14-foot eave heights, 14-foot sidewalls if you're doing the doors on the side. Now, obviously, we can go anywhere up to a 612 pitch. That means, what does pitch mean? That means the pitch starts at lower is a 112. And the higher, the more aggressive the pitch goes, so does your roof. So typically a house, you want to go with a 4 to 612 pitch. That's what so it looks, aesthetically, it looks good. Okay. Spans, you can go 60-foot spans on these ClearSpan buildings. Very cost effective, and you're looking at lead time. How fast as soon as you sign the paperwork, how fast am I going to get my building and put up? You're looking at about 4 to 6 weeks delivery to your job site and delivered and installed. If you're looking at a 2,000 square foot building, you're looking like a couple weeks to put the building up and dried in. And that's very, very, very cost effective. Our cold form buildings take longer. Red iron buildings take longer because installers are sometimes delayed on bigger projects, on commercial projects. But That's a different beast. So today, if you're looking for a cost-effective building, something that you want to maximize the best bang for the buck, you cannot beat clear span buildings, a clear span tubular building. If you go to our website, coltbuildings.com, you go to one of the pages, it says clear span buildings. You click on that tab, and it'll give you a display and a description of what a tubular clear span building looks like. Check us on the web at coltbuildings.com. My name is Juan. We're a veteran-owned and family-owned company based out of Greenwood, South Carolina, servicing all 50 states of the U.S., and we would love to earn your business. So you guys have a great day. Thanks.